I'm with Joe Pulizzi, who wrote what we considered at Fortune one of the top 5 business books last year when it came out, Epic Content Marketing. And look, customers don't want to be sold, they want to be educated. And what I loved is you shared that this thing's been around 100+ years. John Deere in 1895 with their Furrow magazine, Jell-O. But come on, that's small to mid-sized growth companies. Tell the story about River Pools and Spas.
Well, I love the story about Marcus Sheridan, CEO of River Pools and Spas. And the quick story is in 2007, 2008, I mean, just think of the economic impact that was going on, and Marcus installed fiberglass pools.
Yeah.
He was 5th in his market. Didn't know if
local market,
Warsaw, Virginia. Didn't think if he could make payroll. I mean, it was a tough time. So what is a company supposed to do at that time? Can't have advertising. This is the end of times, right? So Marcus said, well, what can we do that our competitors aren't doing? And he said, we are going to answer every question our customers have, starting with how much does a fiberglass pool cost? And created a blog and started to answer every question on a consistent basis. And people started to go to a site. And when they started to type into search engines like Google and go to social media and people were sharing this really good content, he started to become the expert in fiberglass pools. From 2007-8, almost near bankruptcy, went to 2011, 5th in his local market, mind you, then sold more fiberglass pools than any fiberglass pool installer in North America, which is unbelievable. And you say, how is that possible to go from that to this and now flourishing, now a manufacturer? Did it because he created a blog. Such a simple thing. Yes. It doesn't cost very much. It's just time, patience, and understanding your customers' pain points, what they're dealing with, and then figuring out, what is your mission statement. That's what Marcus did. What was his mission statement to his customers is, we are going to be the leader in questions around fiberglass pools and what our consumers want to know, and that's exactly what he did.
Now, that's B2C, business to business. I love the example of the company. They've got 17 engineers blogging in the soldering, space. Share that real quick and what you've got to do when you got folks who can't write.
So Rick Short, Director of Marketing in Indium Corporation. Indium manufactures industrial soldering equipment, so really sexy content,
right?
Right?
You got it.
So where's the expertise in the organization? Their expertise was with the engineers. Well, as you know, we both work with engineers, not always the greatest writers or storytellers. So Rick had to create a system where, how do we extract those stories? How do we work with them to help tell those stories? But again, on a consistent basis. So they created a blog where these 17 engineers blog about basically answering the question about what are our customers, our B2B customers, challenges as it relates to industrial soldering equipment. And they started answering all these questions on since 2005. So you talk about consistency, it's so important. And did that really quickly after that, saw a 600% increase in qualified leads. It's changed the whole mission of the organization because they say, hey, we want to publicly display this leadership, this, we don't want to keep it all in. We want to share that expertise out, and a lot of companies are scared to do that. Indium wasn't scared to do that. It's changed the company, and that's why if you search for anything and anywhere online related to industrial soldering equipment, you come up with not their products and services, their content, and then that gets them to the products and services.
Now, they have, though, this person. You need somebody that is the publisher or editor. What do you call this person?
Well, we call it, theoretically, we call it a chief content officer. It's sort of, you need a content champion. That could be a VP of content marketing, could be a VP of marketing. It could be somebody not in marketing. You need somebody to champion the effort and say, this is important enough to our business, to what we want to do in our business, to say, we're going to start communicating publicly about this expertise area to this audience, and we're going to do it in this way, and we're going to help our customers with this specific thing. But yeah, you need somebody internally to go to the CEO and say, hey, we're not just going to advertise. We're not just going to go in somebody else's channels. We're going to create our own channel. We're going to become a real media company, a real publisher, and we're going to do it on a consistent basis.
Okay. Now, a lot of us, it's convenient, though, for us to build that platform on a Facebook, on a LinkedIn, on a Google+, but you gave us a huge warning that we don't want to build our platforms on rented space. We can use them as channels to get to our space.
That's right.
Talk a little bit about this.
So real quickly, we work with a number of our clients and readers as well that they put so much time and effort and energy into building a community on Facebook and to take in all those likes and fans or whatever you want to call it now, right? Well, Facebook's changed the rules on us, and now they don't show all of our content. Basically, what we know from the data is around 5 to 6% of our posts are seen by the people that like our page. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
5 to 6%, and I've spent like millions of dollars in some cases to build that up over time, and we see that actually going down to 0%. So basically, Facebook has changed the rules and say you got to pay now to reach your audience, which is fine. They could do that. That's their business model. But that's why if you've built your content channel on somebody else's property, I want to own it. So to create your own blog on your website and then use those social channels to direct it back to you, because the Google Pluses, the LinkedIns, the Facebooks, which I think you should use them if it makes sense for your business, they hold all the cards. You don't. So take a little bit of that control back and then build your content ship on something you actually own.
And I'll tell you, this last point that you touched with our audience is bleeding edge, but I think you're right on with the trend, and that is, hey, if you can't build it, buy it. And you're seeing a huge marketplace for purchasing bloggers by industrial and consumer companies. Talk a little bit about this.
So as we talked about in the presentation, to be a content marketer and make impact on the business, it takes time. You have to be patient. And we say, if you don't have 12 to 18 months, go buy advertising. Go do something else. But there is an opportunity if you want to cut some of those corners. And what we talked about is as you build your list of influencers, a lot of those are bloggers, what do they have? They have subscribers. They have a loyal audience. And if you do your analysis, you might say, well, that's our audience that we're targeting. Maybe there's an opportunity for you to partner with them or possibly buy them and bring them in, and so you can cut some of those corners. I think absolutely it's something we're going to be seeing a lot of. I think that in the next 12 to 18 months, you're going to be seeing companies like your IBMs, your John Deeres, your Facebooks, your Apples, companies that aren't necessarily media companies. They're going to start to buy media companies because when you're on your smartphone, you're going to content. You're going other places to get information, and you want to connect with subscribers that are maybe your customers. You either have to build or you have to buy it. I think that there's an opportunity that you could buy it.
And Adorama did that.
The story we talked about was JPG Magazine. They were, in 2008, 2009.
An online magazine.
An online magazine. Well, it was a print magazine.
Oh, it was. Okay.
But they had online, print, and online.
All right.
Then they went solely online because they couldn't support the print anymore with their business, with their media model. And they had 290,000 subscribers, and they were going bankrupt. And Adorama came in with a group of investors. Adorama is a photography supply store, and who do they target? Photography enthusiasts. Who's the subscribers at JPG? Photography enthusiasts. They came in and bought them. I'm like, wow, I can't believe we haven't seen more of this, and it's worked out super well for them. I just think I think we're just not used to thinking that way. I think as businesses, we have to start looking at, we look at M&A about partnering with other companies that do things like us. I think we need to look at M&A and buying content ships and start to build assets instead of looking at marketing as an expense.
Joe, it's literally a brilliant idea. Thank you for sharing it with our audience.
Thank you so much for having me.
And thank you for being here.
Wonderful. Thank you, sir.
Joe.
Anytime.
You bet.